Mr. Boo.
Hey everybody, it is I, Mr. Boo Entertainment Guru, the Mr. Boo Entertainment Guru, right here on YouTube. Slide the thing up there, like, subscribe, ring the notification bell if you will. Support the channel, don't support the channel, thumbs up, thumbs down. It doesn't matter to me. Do with all that information what you will. It is always your choice. Just like today is my choice to review a movie that is now streaming on Peacock, Twisters, ladies and gentlemen. Twisters with an S, the long anticipated sequel-ish movie from the 1995 version called Twister. Get that out of here. We decided yesterday as a family we were going to watch disaster movies, specifically tornado disaster movies, and we watched Into the Storm, the original Twister, and then we watched Twisters. And I guess if you have Peacock and you are paying for that subscription, you want a decent, okay kind of storm movie, Twisters, well, hey, watch it. It's for you. This is a spoiler-free review, and what's to even spoil in a disaster movie? The disaster comes, it strikes, people are unalived, and then the resolve happens when the protagonist finally decides how to defeat the antagonist, which is the storm or disaster, or at least finish the plot line that they started at the beginning of the film. And, well, that's that. You know, just much like a superhero movie when the superhero decides, hey, I finally know how to get rid of that villain. Let's go do it. Movie over. So really there's nothing to really spoil here. People get sucked away into the suck zone. People get unalived in various crushing ways, and vehicles and buildings and collapses, and well, you get the gist. It is called Twisters. It is about tornadoes. And the reason I'm doing this review is we watched Into the Storm, we watched the original Twister, we watched Twisters. And I gotta tell you, it's lackluster, okay? This review is not a good one. The only way that I am appreciative of watching this film is that I didn't have to pay extra. I just had to pop on Peacock and press play. So we sat through this 2-hour and some odd minute snooze fest, really, because when it's compared to movies such as Into the Storm and the original Twister, it just doesn't hold up, okay? The beginning starts off trying to be a little bit like Twister, but trying to up the ante by maybe possibly taking a couple more people into a tornado. That same old scenario where, you know, they've got to go back and you know, redo themselves, get revenge, do what they've started to do to take back their life from what happened in the disaster. The problem there is the acting. When one person happens to meet their fate, literally, I think the guy goes, and then he's just flying away. I don't know. It was just, it didn't seem like they were really trying to even put themselves in a scenario of the fact that you are being sucked into a vacuum that nature created. So that's my first bad part of it, is the acting. It was so-so. It was very subpar. Now the special effects were really good, but I feel like even for 1995, Twister had better tornadoes. Twister had better action. Twister had better movie progression and movie flow. And then you've got Into the Storm, which definitely from start to finish was a non-stop thrill ride. Twisters just didn't really bring it. It felt more like it was supposed to be telling like a love story, which I like love. I love love, don't get me wrong. But it's much like when they did Titanic, how they were like, oh, we're going to put Leonardo DiCaprio in it and we're going to make it a love story. And then for the second part of the 4-hour festival that is Titanic, finally tell the story of what we think happened when it struck the iceberg. Same with Pearl Harbor. It's like, ooh, it was an attack that on Hawaii's, Air Force Base in Pearl Harbor, and it got us into World War II, but we're going to make it like a love story. We're going to snooze fest this up a little bit and just change history. And that's what it felt like here. Is it's like, we're going to take the original Twister, we're going to somewhat, and I'll get to this in a minute, somewhat remake the thing, like almost scene from scene, or parallel certain scenes to where it might make the fans of the old movie be like, haha, that was an awesome little Easter egg. But we're gonna slap a love fest on it everywhere we can. We're gonna slap a love triangle in there with the main character's friend having like a crush on her whole life, and this and that, and it just Yeah, it didn't work. It didn't work, okay? The original Twisters from 1995 holds up so much better. Into the Storm holds up better. Hell, Wizard of Oz holds up better, y'all. That tornado in Wizard of Oz scared the living hell out of me as a kid. This movie just didn't feel right. Even the climax, the main scene just didn't feel... I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel adrenaline. I didn't feel on the edge of my seat like I did with other movies, such as the original Twister. That F5 at the end of that movie, that had me on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my God, they're going to like, Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton are not making it out of this movie. Like, there is stuff flying at them, including an entire house that they have to drive through. From start to finish, that climax of that movie, that part where the F5 is the antagonist and they're the two protagonists and they're duking it out, and like whenever they drive the truck in there and they're like, oh, it's working and Dorothy's flying, and then the tornado's like, what'd you, oh hell no, I'm coming after you now. That was good, because then they had to run on foot and they had to dodge things, and and then it showed how a tornado could literally touch down, and they did this also in Into the Storm. Touchdown, it took the entire farm but left the goddamn house. Into the Storm, it looks like it just carved its way where it wanted to go, winding through a neighborhood and left several houses and vehicles untouched. And that is the scary thought of tornadoes. And Twisters did not have that scary thought. It didn't really feel scary at all. It felt like, as my wife put it, Country Music Television, CMT, decided we're going to make a Nader movie, and we're gonna slap the name Twister on it and call it a sequel, and well, it's going to do real good. We're going to put this here sexy cowboy in here, and we're going to make it a love story, and everyone's just going to fall in love with our movie. And I said that I agreed with that, because it felt like some college student crew went out to make a B film, and they were like, you know what would be a good film to make? We've got a little bit of money. Let's do a sequel to Twisters. I know it did well. I know it's got like 70-some% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I know they call it like a blockbuster. But guys, this movie, besides the special effects being good, has nothing real to offer at all for a Storm movie. So you are actually better off watching the original Twister in 1995, because it is actually more of a thrill ride. Into the Storm, start to finish, does not let you take a moment to breathe. These are movies that make you terrified to hear that storm warning. These are the type of movies that, as a kid, like Twister, made me want to go see a tornado. Made me actually not afraid, but made me intrigued. Every time it would storm or we would have warnings, I was looking out a window, and you're not even supposed to be by a window. I would be out on the porch with my grandpa watching the storm, and just me and my fiance, who is my wife now, basically. I mean, it's not like we have the papers, but hey, 20 years, everybody. We've been together 20 lovely years. And I loved her comment with the CMT making a Twister movie, but we love to go watch the storms and always feel a little disappointed. Now, we are not saying we love tornadoes. They make a massive loss of life, guys, and it is something that is to be feared in nature, and you do need to take shelter when you hear those alarms. But Twisters didn't make me feel like I was going to have to run for my life. No, it made me feel like if I hear those alarms go off, I'm going to go chase a storm with a pretty girl, and I'm going to end up in love with that pretty girl, and I'm going to go and chase her down at the airport just like a love story, y'all. The only thing this cowboy didn't do to this young lady was go outside her bedroom and hold up a boombox with a goddamn, love song playing. This was Love Actually with a lot of freaking wind. So when I say, was it good? No. Did it blow a lot of hot air? Yes. I am only going to rate this movie literally a 3.5 out of 5. You might as well go watch Twisters, which in my book is a 5 out of 5, or Into the Storm, which is also a 5 out of 5. I guess if you have Peacock and you're interested, go for it. But this movie, I wouldn't waste your time, everybody. It's not going to blow you away. It's not going to suck you up. It's more or less going to not even blow enough wind at you to hold you in your seat, because there's really nothing there. There's nothing unique, nothing neat. It was literally made to try to make money, and it was literally nothing more than a love story with a lot of debris flying around. And that debris that was sprinkled on in there was just Easter eggs and basically parallels running alongside the original Twister, such as when the vehicles are chasing the tornadoes, they cut each other off, and those vehicles are cutting each other off because, once again, it's the same story. It's the protagonist, the antagonist, the good guys, the assholes, both storm chasers, two different teams going at the same Twisters with different perspectives, one doing it for money and for a corporation or whatever, and one doing it for science and trying to help the loss of life with tornadoes. Oh, and then the beginning where, of course, the loss of life then messes with the characters' whole life and their thought process on coming back to being a tornado chaser. So yeah, really just not a good movie. So with that said, I've been Mr. Boo, Entertainment Guru, and this CMT Twister movie, or this B-film movie, did not outdo these two movies at all. So these are the two I'd go see. Don't see this one. Go see these two. I've been Mr. Boo, Entertainment Guru, and before I get blown away by the comments, I am going to see you in the next video, because I'm out.